Do you love to play Magic Online but have a tight budget? Check out Mtgo Academy's Academy Budget Bot in the Magic Online Classifieds. All cards in stock are cheaper than one event ticket.
Alright, time for round 2. I'm definitely not mulliganing this. Looks like a pretty sweet hand if you ask me. I did spend some time to relax after this epic round 1 that took forever. So now let's see what my opponent is up to. Once again, I would love to see some forests on my opponent's side. But I'm also quite happy to just run out this on turn 3 and then maybe these two on turn 4. And then I can get whatever I want with the Harbingers, which are kind of a key component to this deck. Stink Drink, I bet it hasn't really performed as well as I would have liked. Okay, it looks like I might actually need some lands in the near future. Once again, no forest. Interesting, playing against blue-black again. Maybe I can use some of the things I learned. Milfog and Wizard cost 1 less. Alright, Mind Shatter is not the card that I wanted to draw. I definitely don't want to Boggart Harbinger. I also don't think that this is necessarily going to work. My opponent might take the damage, but I have no guarantee. So I will just play this. And I'm actually offering the trade. I think there's a good chance that my opponent is not blocking, because he probably wants the mana advantage as well. And I am ahead on the board, so I'm happy with this. And the reasoning is that I have plays, even if I don't draw lands. Okay, target creature gains all creature types, target creature loses all creature types. This makes my Boggart Loggers even worse than they already are. I don't want to play the Harbingers to... Yeah, I think Stinkering a Bandit with Prowl is what I want to be doing. It's kind of the best thing I can do with the help of Warspike Changeling. And even though my opponent might make it lose his creature types, or its creature types, I would have to say, it's not the end of the world. Okay, each other rogue creature enters the battlefield with an additional +1/+1 counter. And when creatures with +1/+1 counters deal damage to me, then I have to discard a card. Okay. This is the rogue strategy. Land? No. Ghostly Changeling, that's a good card though. Now, I could just offer Stinkdringer Bandit to trade with either of my opponent's creatures. That wouldn't be horrible. Could also just attack with the Changeling. If this is unblocked, then my opponent can use this Changeling to turn off this. I actually think I will offer the trade here. I'm hoping that it's bad for my opponent to lose either one of these, and the Stinkdringer Bandit isn't doing much for me, so... Opponent also didn't activate the Changeling before blocking. I think that's... Yeah, I think you would have to do that before. I'm actually not sure how this interacts. Yeah, now I think it's too late to activate the Changeling. Okay, take 5 here. No. Bouncing it. No, that's a problem. That's actually pretty bad, considering that I lost my Frogtosser Banneret. On the other hand, my opponent is now down to 4 cards, has only this Changeling in play. And I still have a good chance of just drawing a swamp at some point. Wouldn't mind shattering my opponent either. Okay, this could mean that a flash card is coming. I'll just check out what's happening here if I attack. It's kind of tough to really block Ghostly Changeling, so... Okay, lose all creature types, that's fine. That's probably to make it impossible for me to prowl anything into play. At least that's the one thing I can think of. Boggart Harbinger is fine to find Nameless Inversion, but if I draw lands, I'm also happy. So I'm just gonna run out the best creature that I have. These are also kind of nice together because you want to have mana up when you attack. There is the Pestermite. I would think that this has to tap one of my creatures here. I don't think that Ghostly Changing is getting blocked here. Once again, playing around Prowl, not blocking. Yeah, that's what I expected. So I have the Roaring Pilferers available, but I didn't want to do that prematurely. So I could play Boggart Mob. I think it's just better to Mind Shatter here. I get only 3 out of the 4 cards, but it's random, so my opponent cannot necessarily keep the best ones. Oh, I got 3 double blue cards out of my opponent's hand. That has to be good. Now, all pretty good cards also. So now my opponent draws 2. That's fair. I got 3 with the Mind Shatter. My opponent replenishes 2 and is still under a ton of pressure. And actually concedes. Yeah, the Roaring Pilferers now would have been absolutely backbreaking, I think. Maybe I wouldn't even have played them because I need the mana for Ghostly Changeling. But then I would have done it next turn and just get a 3/3 haste on top of that. Would have done it, I think. Okay, that was pretty quick, which I like. Roar of the Crowd once again if my opponent has these troublesome utility creatures. On the other hand, I didn't really have trouble this game. I think I'm actually fine with the Nameless Inversion and the Reed Pruner Poplar, even Thorntooth Ridge as well. Kind of like where I am here. I have to take this out again though. It's just too bad. I'm just gonna go with another one of these. Even if it's a red card, I think it's better than Fire Juggler. Yeah, I don't really like Fire Juggler. It's such a random creature. And Roar of the Crowd, I hope I don't need. I can always bring it in for game 3 if I decide that that's what I want to be doing. I also need as much goblins in my deck as possible, as many goblins in my deck as possible, in order to make all these Raise Dead effects good. My opponent keeps 7 on the play, and I'm looking at this hand with a 4, a 5, and a 6 drop and a Birthright, only a single swamp also. I have a feeling that this hand is not good enough if my opponent is off to a quick start, and my deck can give me hands that have a lot better play in the early game as well as in the late game, so I'm gonna mulligan this. And this hand does not look amazing, and it certainly isn't, but I'm gonna keep it because going down to 5 is most likely not giving me anything better. I hate the fact that I drew 3 out of my 6 mountains, but what can I do about it? So now at least I can Harbinger, for example, into Nameless Inversion, and then I have Inversion plus Birthright to deal with whatever my opponent is up to. That way at least I'm not getting overrun anytime soon. Not that my opponent's deck is looking to be particularly fast. And with the Harbinger I can actually decide, am I getting Pestermited in the upkeep? It looks like I am. Okay. So I am forced to pass the turn here. If my opponent keeps adding on flyers, I'm definitely going to have to get the Nameless Inversion with the Harbinger just to survive. And it's not a bad card to get either. It's actually a pretty good card to get. Doesn't look like yeah, okay. Put this on top of its owner's library. This is a very good card, and I don't have the removal for it right now. Let's get the Nameless Inversion then. Let's see, where do we have it? Nameless Inversion. And of course my opponent knows about it, so the correct line is just to keep a blue up for the Fencer Click and to not allow me to kill the click. Una's Blackguard as well. Yeah, this is a tough one. I can't afford to just have this put on my opponent's library. I think I need to get rid of Pestamite and then see where things are going. The one thing I'm not sure about is if I should kill the Blackguard as well immediately with the Nameless Inversion. I don't think I should. I still can get Mud Button Torch Runner into play. And if my opponent decides to like maybe counter this, then I could potentially get the click by Boggart birthrighting. Now my hope is that if my opponent... Oh, okay, another end of turn play. That's very unfortunate. I think I'm pretty dead now. I can kill this with Boggart Birthright and Nameless Inversion, but taking so much damage, and Mud Button Torchrunner is not doing anything, so... I'm happy that I mulliganed the first hand. I just don't think that the second hand is getting there either. So, yeah, with only a swamp. Let's see, I'm taking 4 next turn and I have no defense. Maybe my opponent plays something else and I get some more information. I'm not too concerned showing the birthright here. It's not a card that's super amazing or anything. Okay, wow. Flash, Flying, Fairy, Wizard, and it also protects itself. I'm dead here, but it's good to know that my opponent has this as well. I kind of need the, what's it called, the Lowland Oath to make this flying and block and then trigger still. Didn't happen though. I do have the Roar of the Crowd maybe now that I'm on the play. And all these flyers are really troublesome, so yeah, this isn't helping. Fester Creep I still don't think is what I want. It is an option, but I don't think it's a good one. So the question is, do I maybe take out Boggart Loggers because they aren't amazing, or maybe the Stink Drinker Bandit, which are better on the play, so I kind of like them here. I think that I need the Roar of the Crowd, but only that, so I'm gonna take out the Boggart Loggers, which seem pretty bad against what my opponent is up to, and I could see adding a mountain now. I have been drawing quite a lot of them, but I have 6 red cards now and 2 of them are 2-drops, so it's a bit more important to actually draw the mountains. Let's hope that this doesn't interfere with what I'm trying to do. And I'm gonna play first. Roar of the Crowd doesn't look amazing. Elderstaff Boggart clashes, so that's good. Yeah, this hand is okay. It's not great, but it's definitely not a mulligan. Especially with the clashing, I think that's going to be quite valuable. And my opponent might want to trade with the Boggart pretty early on, and then I can get it back with the Birthright to have a pretty sick curve. Alright. This Poplar on turn 5 is also very good, so if I manage to draw some lands, that would be great. I'm switching up plans here. I think the Banneret is just too powerful not to play. If I draw a land, I can just drop the Boggart Mob on turn 3, which I would definitely do. That's not a land. So now I only have the Boggart for 1 mana, which isn't much better than anything else, but I need to keep the Frog Tosser this time around. Alright, Nameless Inversion. My opponent has a Swamp. Nameless Inversion actually costs me only 1 mana, and I can get it back with the Birthright. It's not a land though. This is difficult. I think I need to draw lands with this hand. Drawing lands is kind of the thing that I want to be doing, that I need to be doing. Drawing Nameless Inversion gets rid of Stony Brook Banneret or whatever my opponent plays, but it's not gonna get me the win. I'm gonna put this on the bottom, as crazy as it sounds. And I'm also not gonna offer the trade here. That was a tough one. Let's hope that it works out. I really only need lands here, so my opponent is going to start flashing in stuff, actually this turn already. Yeah, this Pestamite once again is really problematic. My Swamp's getting tapped. At least I didn't keep the Nameless Inversion, otherwise would have been really bad. Let's see what I can draw here. Oh man, still nothing good, really. I'm offering the trade, I think. Boggart for Pestamite. Let's see, if I don't offer the trade, then Boggart Mob. No, I'm offering the trade. I want the flyers down, and there's actually a chance my opponent just doesn't block here. Yeah, so that worked out well. I'm stuck on lands, whereas my opponent is playing lands, so I'm not in the best position, but a land could change that with the Boggart Mob coming down. Okay. Still no lands. Yeah. Now I'm in trouble. I'm gonna attack with the Boggart. That's the easy part. My opponent doesn't block, which is clearly the right play. Now I have the Harbinger, and I could use it to get back the Nameless Inversion, which I declined earlier. The Birthrights aren't doing anything, and the problem is I don't have more swamps. Otherwise the Nameless Inversion would actually do something for me, but I haven't drawn a swamp in all these draw steps. So I'm afraid that Boggart Mob is just going to be too slow at some point. I'm taking 5 next turn. Yeah, I still think I have to draw lands. I'm not gonna get a Goblin. I'm not dead here. With 5 in the air is something that I can beat. If I draw a land next turn, maybe. Then I could have something like Boggart Mob into attacks with the remaining goblins, get some 1/1s, and then Roar of the Crowd the turn after, for example. It all depends on how much my opponent will have to block. Shriekmaw, oh my god. Yep, this is not going well. I already put Nameless Inversion on the bottom just to draw lands, and I just didn't get there. I started with 2 on the play. I think that keeping these was fine. I also probably, yeah, shouldn't have traded there, because now I can't block Shriekmaw effectively. I'm just dead here effectively. I think I had a really good shot at winning if I draw the land. Even not even on turn 2, on turn 3, I have a lot of time to draw it, but now I'm too far behind to do anything. The evasive flyers of my opponent just killed me here. Kind of an unfortunate way to lose the 3rd game of the semifinals. I really liked my deck, and I had the potential to have this on turn 3. I declined the Nameless Inversion, but was punished with more non-land draws. So my opponent has a really strong deck, clearly, but still kind of unfortunate. I think that I played enough lands, so this is not really the problem. Maybe my deck was a bit clunky, but I thought that I had enough 2 and 3 drops in my deck to get there. Oh well, can't always win all of them. That was an adventure, a journey into, not into Nyx, but into Lorwyn Morningtide, and then in 2 weeks' time, Journey into Nyx will be available on Magic Online. So Simon Says we'll be back with the real deal, with the most recent draft experience, and yeah, I'm looking forward to it already. As always, I'm Zima Godson recording Simon Says for mtgoacademy.com. See you next time.